Hey, Nathan, can you hear us? He might not be paying attention to you. Has pulled up. All right, we're good to go.
So I apologize in advance. Always on top of things, no, the first thing we do is we have to say, no, we pretend, just like,
General direction.
pretend that's on stage, right? Okay.
If you don't know, you're supposed to head to the east, by the way.
I didn't know that.
East is either.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to also now do a roll call. We'll go around the table here and then we'll go around the table over there. So, thank you. Jennifer Nisanoff, Safety and Security Subcommittee.
Bob Gepper, GSCDD.
CC Fox.
Rich Plummer. Emergency back. Jagan. John Hancock. Marty Nanton, Captain. Dave Hamilton, resident. Jim Bollinger, PCA.
Then you got Daniel Potter, Public Works Director for GSCDD.
Thank you. We'll start off with public comment. I did get a couple of forms. I know one of these items is probably already on the agenda, but you can feel free to give us any comments you might have. First one was Marty would like to address.
Yeah, I filled out a ticket for Daniel, as a matter of fact, but last week I got run off the road twice by one by a golf cart and once by a gator truck that was coming through the preserve that runs parallel to the boardwalk, where it has the S curves before you go out to Pelican Preserve Boulevard. Right behind the Brooklyn Center. Yeah, right there.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I was wondering if we could do something to improve the safety when you go around those curves. I was on my bike, you come around the curve, the golf cart takes up the whole pathway, or just about the whole pathway. You know, I went off the road, had to stop. So that happened to me twice in the same week. So maybe we can look at putting up a mirror or something. I'm gonna get with Daniel sometime after the holiday.
Okay.
I was just thinking, is there anybody on the committee that might have some ideas?
It's like being with hospital restrictions. I'll be working with us that would have that meeting.
Okay.
I know you got 2 or 3 mirrors. First mirror, right, that's the pond.
There's one mirror there and there's one mirror at the other end.
That's it.
That's it. I think there used to be more. But
On the one mirror, don't do anything. It's. All of it, you can see yourself. But on the Sienna side, Dan.
it's on the right before, right when you pass the curves after you come off Pelican Preserve Boulevard.
Yeah, but we have two places. One is by Sienna and the other is up here by Broken.
Not by the brook.
So Sienna, okay.
Well, Sienna's for the other side. This comes out at Pelican Preserve Boulevard.
No, not with you. There's a Sienna entrance.
This is not by Sienna.
Further down.
Further down, there's another one off Pelican Preserve Boulevard.
Yeah, there's 2 of them. There's the first and the second.
Second.
Okay, we don't have them.
Yes, there are 2.
Second, okay.
There's one at the end by the Liberty Center. There's one on the first curve. But when you pass the curve, right before it goes to the straightaway, that cuts through.
For all the baby alligators, though.
Well, I know because that's where the golf cart was, and that's where the gator was. coming after them. rather than-
At the speed of, meeting.
Could have been my speed too.
I-
You know, but
I just on the other side, that path has some speed humps.
Yeah, 3 of them.
So,
that path has no speed.
The one you're talking about has a problem. Maybe that's an answer, if it's speed bumps.
yeah.
Okay, so you can get together with Jen.
I'll get-
Okay. Right after Thanksgiving. I'll make sure I reach out, and coordinate with you a time that works for you.
Okay, thank you.
Was it, they didn't see you or didn't heal?
They were taking up the whole road. So I came around the corner. So we both had to stop and I had to stop off the path.
Maybe there's a sign as you're going up Falcon Reserve up the sidewalk, tree line. It says golf cart must yield to pedestrians and cyclists. Maybe just a sign on the path.
So
You know, if not all golf carts yield, but at least give them the idea if you pull over and see a cyclist. Because I've had the same issue. Sounds like you startled him, he startled you.
sure.
Oh, so you didn't see each other, you got on the corner. Okay, so it was more, yeah.
Here, and we're going. We're going.
Okay,
Good
help. so hopefully by the time we have our next meeting, I have some thoughts from you guys. And we'll say what you think. Okay, well, that's good. We'll see what they do. All right. David, let's talk about sidewalks.
Yeah, sidewalks. So I've been involved in a sidewalk drainage issue for probably 2 years. This is not a Prado issue. This is a Pelican issue. This was brought up to the President's Council when we first started our pilot program, when I was working with the director of whatever it is for Gateway 2 people ago. And we came up and we did field walk downs. We came up with 4 or 5 different solutions. And when it was brought up to the President's Council, the other presidents identified they have some issues too. So this isn't just a Prado, it's a Pelican. And to the point where after we put in our initial trial program with the paver bricks on Prado, Gateway then did the big one just to the west of Matarita, I think it is. You can't miss that big flume. The big concrete flume was put in, and that resolved that one. There's another one across the street when it rains, you'll see. But we got to keep kicking this or stop kicking this can down the road, because Gateway was supposed to start in Prado a year ago to add in more flumes made out of concrete. And so I just want to elevate this because this is a safety issue.
If I can,
Yeah,
and Dad will chime in here for you. When an area has been identified,
right.
it's addressed. There's been no effort to go out and do 50 or 100 up or whatever.
They haven't been.
Well, who's it been told to?
Gateway. We have 4 tickets
bring
in
it
the
here.
last month.
Bring it
That's
here.
what he's doing.
But no, I told Gateway about this 18 months ago.
Excuse me, there is no gate. This is where you bring it. This is where it can fit.
Back then, I was told by Gateway to bring it up to the director of whoever runs sidewalks. That's what we did.
Okay, forget everything you were told.
Okay,
Here's how we do it.
so we're kicking the can.
No, we're not kicking anything. You were doing it wrong because everyone who was brought into this group got fixed. Period. Okay, I've never seen one that wasn't fixed.
Okay, but I mean, I think we have to be mindful that things have changed. Now there's quick
Right.
fixes, there's that. So people may not
I
be bringing
understand.
things to.
But I hate when people just say that I told Gabe.
No,
But
I
it's-
have emails.
It's the,
Here
Okay.
is where you bring it.
Okay,
forward.
that's where we're bringing it now. That's
Okay.
fine.
Give a
Let's
list,
Move forward,
bring a list.
get it moving.
Right, and that's what we're gonna be doing today.
Okay.
In fact, the agenda item that's on there that says Prado, to your point, I've already crossed that off and said it's an overall issue.
Okay.
So, because we are starting to see more and more things come in through certificates. We've had a couple come in since last meeting that we're going to talk about today. We know it's an overall issue, so we're going to be talking about it. And in fact, I know Bob sent something out to the team saying, hey, we're going to talk about it today. Let's get somebody to take an overall lead on what we're going to do, overall within Pelican. How do we go about making sure that the committee knows, or depending on what the process is that we put together, how the district knows, okay, that these are the approved things that we're going to try to do. Here's what you do in certain circumstances.
This group's been in effect for 1 year.
Okay.
There were a lot of things in the past. We're trying to fix
I'm
it.
not gonna throw you under the bus, Bob, but
Please do.
you and I,
I got it.
remember when we had our mail kiosk drainage issues?
What?
The mail kiosk drainage
Yeah.
issues? That was the first one brought up. So at that point, I'm talking to a member of the GSCD Board of Supervisors.
Yep. And that was addressed.
By
But-
Prado, but that was a trial to get the rest. Now, we're moving on.
Yeah.
No problem.
I want to move on, but on
Right.
that particular issue,
Part of that was-
bolts on the sidewalk is the issue.
Yeah.
Hold them, and that was fixed.
No,
You're wrong. It wasn't our wires.
Okay, I'm gonna,
hold on.
okay,
The last thing I want to talk about,
All right.
my last 30 seconds is,
okay,
we had 4 or 5 methodologies to try to fix this. We tried the pavers, there's some issues with pavers. We tried concrete. That seems to be the best solution. Gateway tried to put in a pipe underneath the grass of 10671 Prado, I think.
Yeah.
That keeps filling up with dirt. The homeowner is actually trying to blow the dirt out of that. So that doesn't work.
Yeah.
So the concrete flume looks to be the best solution because Gateway gets the best price on concrete. Prado could not. It was going to cost us like $5,000 for each one. My only next request, if we go with the concrete, can we try to dye the concrete? There's a powder additive you can add to concrete to change the color. So it isn't quite a stark white eyesore. It hides the dirt better. It hides the rust better from the sprinkler systems because we all use reclaimed water or lousy water. And that's all I'm asking for. And I'm willing to help in whatever it takes to get this fixed in Pelican because there's a lot more involved. And it isn't just a moldy issue. It becomes a mosquito breeding ground and it's a trip hazard for the residents that do the walking. And then the dogs walking through it. I don't know why they let their dogs walk through it, but they can track that wherever they go. So that's it.
okay. All right, thank you.
I'm willing to help, whatever it takes.
I'm gonna remember that when we get to that agenda item.
Excellent.
Okay. Before we move on, any other public comment? Okay. Thank you. We don't have any minutes to approve today. We have a meeting, yes. Well, as we all saw, because Georgia sent something out there, we're gonna try to do a new methodology to try to do minutes for these meetings because Infomark, I guess, that I don't know whether it was just a cost or whether it was a personnel issue, but it took a long time to get to the minutes.
It's just they're behind on trying to get minutes processed in a timely fashion. We're at the mercy of Mark on getting those back to us so that we can put them in. As soon as we get them as an agenda item, as soon as we get them back, they go in as the next agenda item.
Right. You can almost see the cadence of how they're doing that. I
Yeah.
think.
I'd be happy to share with the board. But I'm glad. Or we can wait for those minutes, whatever. I mean, they may not be verbatim for what would be formal,
Right,
but anyway,
okay.
I'll
Well,
leave that up to you.
I'm just trying to think if by taking time to look through that at the.
Well, not now. I didn't mean now.
Oh,
No, I-
you mean offline?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
then
I
you-
need permission to do that.
Well, I think it's sent it to Georgia and she could forward them on to us. I don't know. You
Okay,
never know what you can forward on directly and what you can't, so.
So we can forward on anything. What we do is we blind CC everybody so that
Yeah. Oh.
when a committee member does decide to reply back for a question or something like that, it's just going back to Georgia or it's going back to myself or Laura, and it's not going to the whole committee member. Or the whole committee as a first board.
Makes a decision. whether maybe the rest of the people need to know what that other members.
So normally when that member is trying to get something out to the rest of the committee, it just goes through Georgia and Georgia pushes it back out to,
If something comes up though, be reminded of something we discussed last meeting.
Yes.
Okay. Next thing is financial report.
so up on the screen, I've got the financial reports.
Thousand balance there that may end up being surplus. There's also a, not on here, but the unaudited financials, there's about 108,000 leaving there reserves from last year's budget.
Left over 2024 unspent.
On 2024 unspent. One comment, Jennifer, and I don't know, again, last year I noticed there were a lot of, and I know we're new to this is the newest budget, but there were a lot of things that were, to me, charged to the wrong categories. Like we had light repair, or a couple light repair invoices that went to roadways or road maintenance or something. I think it's going to be really important this year that we make sure that things get to the right line items, so that we know what the budget items, and as we look towards next year, spiel from the landscape, we're going through an assessment methodology, and certain line items may be treated differently as part of the assessments for the 26. So getting things categorized correctly in 25 is probably going to be pretty important, so that when we work on the 26 budget, we can make sure we have good numbers in the actual categories, because it may affect how the assessments are distributed in the 26 budget. So it may take a little bit more due diligence on the new invoices, and they may have to do some journals back and forth to try
Yeah,
and
and add to your point, Tom's went through that. And one member of Rick's committee, one member of this committee takes this on, that every single invoice that the district pays, every invoice is reviewed by him. And they see where, like you said, in the journal, they may have put something in the teddy bear column that should have been in the gun. And then he can get that change working directly with him to keep it aligned. And it does, the second part is it's a check and balance. But you know you're not getting the safety and security payment going for a landscaping item or a pond item. So it's very important to do that. And if you do, then the columns line up very, very well. The second thing I want to comment on this is the 125,000 underspent. That's consistent with the same thing we found when landscape had their first year. They came in 200 and some thousand, 290, I think, underspent. So congratulations to both teams. And it just reinforces why these subsystems are so much more efficient with respect to spending residents' money, because we watch it. It's not a bureaucrat that got an invoice and just paid it, didn't care what it was. We are spending our own money, and we're really saving a lot for our residents. So congratulations to everybody. This is the first year you've seen it. Landscape, we've seen it 2 years.
I have a question. Will there be some formal procedure by which we agree or get approval to carry that extra over into next year's budget? Same thing we do with our condo.
Right now, it's automatic, subject of course, to PPAC. And in their infinite wisdom, if they needed it to offset some other unexpected, then they could do that. But like ponds at one time had over $1 billion in the reserves. And it wasn't, just capricious. There was a purpose, because they knew they wanted to do a project that was going to cost over $1 million over 4 or 5 years. And they had the reserves, for lack of a better word, to do that.
What happened last year in these ponds, they had spent reserves, and then
The one pond was one of the more expensive and most less budgeted, so they did a feedback and said, maybe we want to transfer $100,000 from the pond reserves to that pond account. So basically, then their 24 budget for that line item by the way, can make that go through that transaction.
As you become more familiar, it's very transparent. It's extremely effective.
My concern was that that money that is about to be surplus, quote unquote, sugar. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure that we still have,
It never leaves Pelican, to be sure, but it doesn't leave your
I got you.
subcommittee
Fine,
budget.
PPAC.
Yep.
I got it.
Right.
I got it. Okay, thank you.
And the way they work and the way the other committees work, they won't go
Okay.
that.
I'm not concerned.
Yeah, and I'm still not sure why we have, excuse me,
Yeah.
capital outlay roads. I thought, just me, that the capital outlay roads was gonna move up to the other roadway maintenance. That's just a total item, whether it's capital or not. From a budgetary point of view, only, a spending, not accounting, that this group has $300,000 for roads this year.
260,000. Starting out of the open to general fund for capital major road, and it's got 40,000 for the roadway. So it's-
I thought it was all in the budget.
it is.
No, not the capital budget.
It's not, it's all,
Well, if it's all in the safety and security budget,
this is in the safety and security.
okay, if it's $1,023,000, why do we care whether it's listed as capital or not? We all know where it's going. It's all going for rates. That's the only place.
Program for future years to capital outlays. roads.
But we're no longer funding through our capital money roads. Unless it's in excess of our 300,000 a year. But we now have in our budget 300,000 a year to do roads.
I think what we're trying to do is keep, and Jerry's gonna talk about this, stuff that we're trying to prioritize from the Tetra Tech report, separate from the, we're gonna do the potholes and the.
Well, I guess I'm not sure why we want to do that, but I hear it. It's a $300,000 pot that you have every year to spend, whether you spend it on a pothole or doing a Avila, or doing Brennan. It's a $300,000 pot.
I think it's just a matter of keeping track of the project. So if we have a project to do, say, 3 roads this year, for example, how much is that gonna cost? And is it gonna be more than the 260,000? And if it is, then we take it out of some of the surplus or whatever.
And I agree with
The
that.
forty
totally.
K, we know if we stay within about that 40K, we'll be okay. In terms of for repairs. And then if something happens and we need more to repair, well, then we.
I'm with you 100%. I just don't understand why they're two bean columns. The same 300,000 is roads, whether you do a pothole or whether you do a resurface. It's 300,000 is what you got. And if you exceed that, then of course, you got to go to PPAC and get more money. But I like to keep this thing as simple as possible. Having the two, I find confusing. Ponds had the same issues and they just kept it simple and it really worked well for 15. That's just, apparently I'm the only one who thinks that's important, because Ed and I talk about it all the time.
Maybe it's more like a long-term plan versus okay, we have some short-term fixes that we need to do. I don't know.
Well, we'll get to the end of the, sooner or later, when you get to the end of the Tetra Tech, let's start again.
Yeah.
But if you always know you got 300,000 in the budget to do it.
Yeah.
You can plan. But having it two separate, to me, just.
Is there any way that the board is advising to make grants for our short customers?
I'm going to say no, but I keep getting surprised by other things. But up till now, what I hear from the attorney and Infomart, our financial people, what is in that O2 account can only be spent by PPAC. PPAC does spend what they put in the admin column for us. We don't get much say over that. They just give us a bill, we pay it. But they can't touch our reserves. And they can't use the money that we have accumulated for Pelican Reserve. That's part of the reason we paid off the 2013 bond early. Because we're standing on sand. The environment is shifting. Have you ever heard anything different from that, Dan?
No, if it's in your fund that you either pulled and put to the side, it's the same with Stony Brook. I can't use Stony Brook's funding for anything other than Stony Brook. So it's the same with Pelican.
And even with all the confusion we've gone through with the repeal of Rule 6, none of this is changing. The financial part of Lost Avenue 2 doesn't change. So we contribute, good change.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay,
okay, well, moving right along, I think there are a couple things here. First of all, we need a volunteer to take the lead on the budget and the financial. And understand what's in each of these line items. And if you want to put a little description in there, that's great. I think I can do second. And then watch the invoices as they come in. I've been told many times that you can go grab the invoices out of board of supervisor packages and that we might get them separately. So I haven't seen them separately. So I went through and in fact from the meeting on 11/7, pages 103 to 118, it's our stuff. All you have to do is go out there and take a look.
it's very easy.
Yes, all the invoices.
That's after the fact.
Yeah, let's
Exactly.
get a change.
Right,
You know, put it in the right column.
but today I'm supposed to be seeing, if not all the invoices and items. We talked about that. So if we say so-and-so is going to be the lead of the financial stuff, and they're going to approve all the invoices, then we just need to make sure they have the information they need.
Absolutely.
So for instance, with the Fort Myers Patrol, Rich is going to get started hopefully getting some of those invoices. Maybe there haven't been any patrol since we had another. It's on good one. Probably no patrol since then. But I've been getting them. But I don't see the patrol stuff. So we just need to make sure then that we get all the processes updated.
And the good thing about the existing system, you don't have to catch a month for missing one. The entire year is from day one of the fiscal year, October the 1st, all the way through till September 30th. They're all driven tonight.
So is anyone on the team interested in potentially taking that on?
Yeah, Ted.
Otherwise, it may be, short straw or something. Okay. Anything else on the financials? All right, sure. Next, we're going to talk about why is there a purpose. Okay, let's take a review. So we know remember where we are with this and what we're actually discussing today. We had last time talked through the updated choice order, and we've had a couple of action items. So if we looked at this handout, get from up on the board, we'll get up on the board eventually. This is the
Which one do you want?
this
This one?
7A.
the first one.
7A.
Okay. And there were a couple of action items. So the action items first were, if we go down, we were good with everything up until about page 9, I think. Where we get into the rover patrol procedure. One of the things that we said we wanted to do is to put together basically a one-pager that would be more of a map. We didn't like the list. We didn't like how this was all organized because it's just, well, it wasn't complete. It wasn't correct, So what we did offline is we created a one-pager. That's this thing that you saw in your packet. That's the second handout. This went through a number of iterations. Mark Thompson from Wiser, Daniel Potter from BSCDD, and I got together. We went through this. And what I want to do is walk through this with you so that you know what you're looking at. We then went to both KW and to the PPCA to get their approval. The net out of it is everyone's approved what you guys see here. So, and it went through, I don't know, 3, 4 iterations, I don't know, something like this. You probably didn't see them all because I was going through iterations with KW and PPCA. Basically, what we've done on this first page, if you can well, maybe it's the second page. Let's go. Pictures are usually easier. What we've done, instead of that list of neighborhoods and what they're supposed to look at and all that kind of stuff, we broke it up into a number of different areas. A, B, and C, D, E, F, G, H. What they're going to do, the wiser people, is they're going to do something called the right-hand rule. You guys know the right-hand rule? It comes from mazes. You know that. And to get out of a maze, if you want to make sure you get out of a maze, you put your right hand on the wall and just keep walking with your right hand on the wall, and you get out of the maze. If you want to make sure you see everything in a house, and firefighters do this, they do the right-hand rule. They probably don't put their hand against the wall, but they make sure that as they survey through the entire house, they get everything by putting the right hand on a wall. And there's always a boundary. They're at the boundary of the house. The Census Bureau does this when they go around and make sure they have everybody's address. They create boundaries. They put the right hand, so it's called right hand rule, and they make sure that they get every single house or every single residence or every single mobile home or every single whatever to make sure that they catch everybody. So what we've done is we put boundaries around logical areas within Pelican. So A would be, and all I did was list the names of the roads that you see on the map, but it includes all the roads. So area A, it says here, Amiata, Aviano, and Trieste. But that's because that's what's on the count, on the picture. Mark knows it's for everything. So that's going to help them figure out how to go around all the streets in all the neighborhoods as they're doing their round. They then move on to B and C. We'll start with B, Vicenza. So they'll go down the roads within Vicenza and come back out, and then they'll go into the town center. And that's where everything else is pretty much like I just said. The couple of sections we'll talk about in a moment. The town center, we have a list of locations that they are to check. And it's listed more or less if you're going to do that right-hand rule throughout the town center. You've got the Brocky Center, the Bocce Courts, and the lawn bowling, art studio, lifestyles, Pelican Lounge building, the Soleil building, wood shop. You can see the whole list. It also includes the pools, flip flops, the casita, the tennis courts and pickleball courts, the softball field, and the dog park. There was a decision made that we don't need to go back to like the butterfly garden into the community garden and those kinds of things back there. Then once they finish, and there's a list of things that they're supposed to be looking for, making sure all the doors are locked, looking for any required repairs in quotes, because that could also mean something's broken, could be man done, could have been just it broke, could be vandalism, it could be whatever.
This is a.
Yes, it is. It's under wiser post orders. And this is actually one of the attachments.
I didn't even quiet. I don't believe I saw it in there.
Oh.
Oh.
Wasn't it up there?
That's in the agenda. packet.
Well, I missed it.
Yes, it-
Yeah, I missed it because I printed the rest, but I missed that. Okay.
Okay.
Just the first. Page.
Yeah, we're just going over the front page.
Not the
Just so that you-
attachments.
Right. So basically, this is how they're going to be going around the community and what they're going to be looking for. The other thing we said we were going to do is come up with a one pager where they could put all of their issues that they find, as well as who's going to be notified when they find particular issues. And that's what this other page number 1. Thank you.
It's good.
No, it's page number 1 on the other attachment. Sorry. Yeah.
The expectations.
Yes and no. Because we're going to try it and see what happens. The other thing we're going to talk about is change control. Because right now they're supposed to check all the doors and make sure they're locked. Whether that's going to happen long term or not, we don't know. Because it just might not be efficient. On the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of them. Well, that's what we said we wanted them to do within the request for proposals. So that's what we have down there.
Oh, this is for the resident.
Mm-hmm.
which is only from 2200 to 07.
Yeah. And possibly, right,
22.
right. We'll see how, that's what we said we were gonna do, so that's what we're starting off with. If it turns out that this doesn't make a lot of sense, we'll change it. But we wanted to go in with what was in the documentation.
Just a question, am I remembering that when we first talked about the rover and the difference in responsibilities, had we talked about including the RV park?
I don't remember.
I thought only to
I
the
thought it was
extent
cameras.
that they would look at the cameras in the guard shack,
Mhm.
but not that they would physically do that. Was my recollection,
Okay.
remembrance.
Yeah,
But okay, do we have that in the post orders?
I don't remember. We'll have to look.
We got to make sure that that's in there.
What can they do when you point up to
Yeah,
Actually, a police officer that I worked with, one of my many other things, she suggested that we plant heavily thorned bushes along that edge. She felt that a lot of any vandalism was people climbing over that fence. She said it would, I mean, I don't, she just suggested.
okay. Well, today, right now, we're gonna talk about post orders, and then if we want to talk about how we can secure the RV park better, we can do that as well.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. What we have on this particular page, yes, this page, is the items that we said we wanted in the log. Wiser has their own log that looks very similar to this. So they're going to be using their actual piece of paper. And then what they will do is daily, those logs and any incident reports are going to be sent to the daily distribution. And we need to get a volunteer from this team to receive those documents. KW and PPCA only want to get information about basically incident reports on 911 calls and any kind of substantial damage. So we don't have a definition for substantial damage. One of those things where you know it when you see it. If there was a 911 call, they also want to be notified. KW wants to be notified of their after-hours emergency service number, and the number is here.
And
Wiser,
Wiser would make that call.
they would make that call because they'd be the ones calling 911.
Sure.
So if they found some kind of criminal activity,
They also have to.
they call 911. Because remember, they're observant report.
They also do a report that they send to the district when items like that are come through their logbook. They send a report, and we went over the report formatting. They have a format for that and what they send to the district for just general housekeeping and maintenance logs.
Is that timely or is that once a month or something?
Per event. Yeah, they have them all the time at the guardhouse. It's there and available at all times. But if there's a significant event, it gets sent to GSEDD. I believe we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's in the.
It is.
I think they're called incident reports, aren't they?
Yeah, they're incident reports.
Now, in terms of change control, whether we really need this daily distribution list or not, don't know. We're gonna start off with it and see what happens. But
Last month we talked about what we do this.
yeah, and we don't know because we don't know what we're gonna get. But that's why I'm saying you have to start somewhere. This is where we said we wanted to start. We'll see how it goes. If it turns out it's gonna be too much and if it's not actionable, it's just interesting,
Maybe
we
just.
can do a change control. Maybe.
Yeah, but. You're not just looking at.
Yeah.
First time I looked at streetlights. Don't the total look,
Mhm.
also I don't have them.
GSPDB, want to, okay?
No.
No? Okay, good.
FPL lights have numbers, GSCD do not.
Not all,
That's how you send it.
Okay,
not
thank
all
you.
of the FPL number
Okay.
I looked at every one of this.
You're supposed to.
And then who do they report it to?
Because
What the FPL ones, they could go right into the FPL system and enter it by the address. You can put the address of the house
Okay.
and it pulls up the right place that's there and you can date. So you can have them doing that, here this was observed and report. So to me, an FPL, I would be reported directly to FPL and tag it with the room. And you don't even need the number that's on the phone, like, speedway, the street, like the street address. Now, the ones that are gateway on, we probably got to really do that through the club fence.
So you're suggesting why 2007? Or, okay.
So early on these discussions, it's like they can observe and report. The question is, who do they report to? If they report it, if they report it to Gateway, then somebody at Gateway has to go and report it to FPL. And that's just more administrative labor. And these guys were just sitting in the guardhouse at night, not doing anything. They were able to report it. The other thing is garage doors open. Who did they report that to?
That we said we weren't gonna have that done.
That's why I was surprised to see it. I thought it was.
Oh, we took it out.
It's not.
I didn't know that was discussed. I think it's big. Well, they're sitting at my garage or something. I would like to get a call at least before midnight. But then I could log on to the people don't want to get. They don't.
No, it's all that getting ripped out.
I thought when the
All that was
discussion
getting
went,
ripped out.
people could opt out if they didn't want to participate. I thought
Okay,
that's
we don't have,
where we went.
okay, I'm sorry, that's not what I.
Okay.
To me, that ought to be the way it is. If somebody does it, they get a call, they don't want to go or whatever,
They can opt out.
They opt out of getting the call, they can do their garage.
Okay. Well, tell you what, let's make a parking, can we make a parking lot with these kinds of things? Because we do need to get these post orders, at least
Out.
version 1 out. That one's gonna take a little discussion in terms of a process on how we tell residents, hey, if you want to be called when the garage door is open.
Or if you don't want to
If you don't want to be called, here's what you do. We just have to think through that process.
My concern is knowing people I talk to here, my neighbors, whatever, they do not read emails. The chances that you're going to get a meaningful response, how many, and which addresses, and who's going to keep that list up to date? And do you really think that the Wiser Guard is going to check a list of addresses? I
That's
can't.
why I'm
It's kind of
saying
like
we
dwelling
can't do
live.
that right
Yeah.
now.
Park it, but it needs some good
Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah.
Because, people get
Because
into dwelling
you're right.
live, no different than that.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
To put on the dwelling live somehow.
Oh,
maybe
dwelling live.
that could be said, so the guard could bump in a neighborhood, an address, and could say, don't call or do call. But I agree with you, Susan. But you will find out when they call them and they don't want to be called, you'll learn.
Oh, yeah.
Wake somebody up at 11 and you went to bed at 9.
I just think, I was looking at, who the reports go to down here. And Gateway, is doing the revenue, but to me, the other things like the streetlights, and everything, if we can get them to even reporting directly to where it needs to, saves the administration.
At one time, they did call for open garage,
Okay, when it's-
and I don't know when it changed. When I first
Okay,
got here,
because we're getting grief, so we stopped it.
when I first got here, we did get a call.
We
I
stopped it.
don't know who changed it or when, but
Safety
this group
security
didn't
changed
exist.
it. Well.
And I'm
we did
talking
it
about 5,
in our
15 years.
earlier, 15 years, okay.
Oh,
in
yeah.
our Earlier incarnation, maybe 3 or 4 years.
I've been here since 05.
Yeah,
You may not.
I don't think I'd want that.
They did, they rang the bell.
I never got that. They called.
okay, I'm gonna gatekeep, because we've got a lot of other things that we need to talk about today.
That's
But-
where to make sure
Yeah.
that they use incident reports in Fort Myers Police Department. According to, like, get my name on those.
Yes, we, yeah,
I was talking with Mark yesterday, and I think, but, I'm new to the team, but, there's a lot of missing reports and things that I discovered yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, start handling like that.
That's right.
I think that'll keep me busy for a little bit. And I can
Yeah,
take
well,
another responsibilities, but I think the incident reports will definitely.
but they,
Yeah, the road reports, the incident reports, the FMPD reports.
okay. Well, the best way to get you to get those is get you on this list. Okay.
Can I also make it just a general recommendation
Certainly.
that whatever the document gets completed, it should have, pages should be numbered.
It will be, we talked about that.
Okay,
What
just make it
happens is-
easier when we're joking.
Okay, this is review. What happens is this all goes to Wiser. It gets put into their template. You guys weren't, some of you all weren't here when we went through this last time. Oh, using the Wiser template.
Is that a challenge?
It's a challenge. It works for them, but we don't have whatever software they have. So that's why we did it this way. Mark understands that he's going to get a copy of this. He's going to get it over to the right people in Wiser. They're going to put it in the template where they also put in all of their stuff in terms of how they do their time reporting, their uniforms, all the Wiser, very specific Wiser information. And then that will be page number.
Okay,
If I might suggest on the first one, every page should have a date, email, or a way to find it, whether it's the Word document, Excel document, whatever.
Yeah.
And the page.
Yeah,
So whenever you pick it up, you don't, where did this come? It's right.
right.
There's a tracking mechanism. So
I think that's going to be in there, but I'll double check with them. And we're also going to have a change control sheet. So we keep track of when we make changes.
excellent.
That also has been kind of confusing over the last year or so.
When you pull it up online, you don't know what, if you look at the latest
Exactly.
one, it's right.
That's why we're doing change control. What else? That's post order. Okay, the only thing I had is that I'll make these changes. I'll have Georgia let me know when it's all out on the SharePoint site. And then you guys can take a look at it. We're gonna get it over to the lawyers for them to look at it. The legal want to review before we go too much further.
Are you familiar with SharePoint? How to do it?
Yeah.
Because I'm not. I was just did the landscape committee. I think it would be worthwhile to schedule a tutorial sometime in the future.
Chelsea kind of gave us
Yeah.
one
Okay,
sort of last time. I mean, it's on me, but
Okay. Yeah, okay. I was gonna do that, you may recall, and we were gonna get offline because it was just gonna be a tutorial. I was gonna put some bogus non-committee related, but we were told we can't do that.
Oh, great.
So,
If any committee member wants a tutorial, I'm a SharePoint administrator, so I can stick you out.
Who you got? They got, but we
okay,
got to do it one-on-one. You can't do it. Presentation go through.
Do one-on-one and
Video stuff?
I can record said thing and then post it.
okay.
Cause
We
I'll
did-
set it up like a Teams event and I'll share the screen and I can record it. Then it becomes just a transcript.
We did it to use competition, invite all the subs.
Yeah.
It was Zoom.
The only thing we were gonna use it for, I know I've used SharePoint before, it does a whole lot of stuff. It's just for document.
So
You see-
SharePoint's like knowledge management.
Yeah.
It's where you house your finalized documents. That's where when you've got a contract that's been signed and it's ready to, it's being executed, that's where that should go. Working documents, we can do things in there for working documents. Just be careful of how you're working with other people if you're doing your own work, like plagiarism, right? For the old college try. Just make sure that you're putting in your own input and not conversing with anybody, because Word documents and Excel documents allow you to do comments and you can put comments in. And if you all are talking to each other via comments, that violates sunshine rule. So you can put in your tidbits into items, just making sure that you're not conversing with each other inside the platform. You'll be good.
first time. So the right hand, A, B, C, D, E, why does it go to G? I mean, shouldn't it go around if there were going to be? I don't understand.
Because
It
what-
sounds picky, but
Because I think the thought was we would do the top part in A, then go into the town center and do Vicenza. Then on D, it's going down Pelican Preserve, the southwest communities within the D area. and then go on to E,
Which is below.
which is Palazzo, then come back and then do G, which is basically,
Why didn't you just call it F?
That's above.
I know,
okay, maybe we do F
but
first.
no, I mean. it
We
just-
do F first. My apologies, my
Yeah,
apologies.
yeah.
Do F first, my apologies. And then
Oh,
you
so
do
that-
F first, and then you do G, and then you go back to H, which is
Fine. Okay,
part of Amphistoria. My apologies, I did that out of order.
Rich, excuse me. Is there anywhere addressed in here about the flag
Yes, we haven't gotten there yet.
with,
Yeah.
with regards to
Yeah.
tattered replacement?
it's already done.
Oh, tattered replacement?
They fixed
Yeah,
it.
so-
They fixed it. It's
Yeah, the new.
But I
flag
mean,
already out
in
there.
the rules, I mean, in law, the procedures,
No, not in here, because they're
like
not
when they see that
responsible.
they're tattered, what do they call?
The normal customer service number.
So-
Well, everything is a customer service number.
That process wasn't great because we didn't really know that we were owning the flags there in the past. What I've done now is I've given my guys instruction to buy them to have them on hand. So I have a bench stock. So the next time that a flag needs replacement repair, Mark at the gate will let us know, or I'm sure I'll get a C-click fix about it.
Right.
Once we're notified, we'll go out and pull down the flag that needs to be replaced and one for one it. And then at that point, I'll just back order one for my bench stock.
Okay.
So it eliminate the 3-week lead time that I need in order to buy a flag online.
The flag looks great.
The only one that won't be maintained is the Pelican flag. So that's going to be through KW.
We could go to page 10. In this document with flexible responsibilities, we did that in as a result of that, the last month's discussion. That during normal operations, all flags at the front entrance to the development are raised and lit. And this slide is classified to 524/7. Before a storm, the flags at the front entrance to the development should be lowered and stored at the gatehouse. Weiser has agreed to do that. Once the storm passes and normal operations resume, so they come back, the people leave, normal operations, the flag should be raised. Both the lowering and raising of the flag should be done in accordance with the federal flag code and common traditions showing proper respect. Half mast. They know how to do this already. When flags are ordered by the President of the United States or the government of the state of Florida to be flown at half mast, the flag should be lowered and raised according to their directions, being the directions of either the President or the Governor, and in accordance with the federal flag code and common traditions for showing proper respect. Why they're agreed to do that.
And we saw Daniel's note tomorrow to get on site to be advised when. Here.
Yeah.
So he's got the site. I sent it out to every committee under Pelican, just so that everybody had situational awareness that you can subscribe, and just to make sure that there's somebody else watching him in the gatehouse, making sure that that's up and down. You can set it up for the state and then obviously for the national subscription. So you don't go in there and select all states because you'll get 300 emails a day. Just pick Florida and the national button. I get it, and that's how I manage the flags over on the gateway side. So we've got three flags over there to manage.
So the stuff at the very bottom was just on the readers of what needed to be done. I think we've all been done, so I will do those from. But this kind of handy, I like the way it tells you put it in. It's very easy to do. Okay. Let me see if I can get a motion from the team too. I'm not sure what the motion was, but once we got it. To accept these post orders as amended today and allow the district to send it on to legal for review.
He says I should second it.
So who?
I make that motion as stated by. Cecil.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, that motion is passed. Thank you. All righty.
That's a major milestone, folks.
What's him doing?
2 years.
Then did a lot of reading.
Okay. Moving right along, next item is the Pelican Preserve Boulevard, Ravenna Way, and Aviana Drive Mill and Resurface update.
We're gonna go ahead and start with the
Yeah.
thoughts. I know that,
Great.
see, Dan, you haven't gotten the full bids. yet.
They're
And we
they're not
need
due
to
back.
clarify.
Yeah, they're not due back, I believe till January. Just because of holidays.
All right. Um, first of all, 2025 budget for road resurfacing. Thinking Aviana Drive and Ravenna Way. Visual inspection and using the Tetra Tech report as a guide, that those two would be next. They're rated 4 in the report. And visually, they seem to be the worst. Still not bad shape, but the worst one that they're gonna do a program resurfacing. So, budget bids, we may need general money to do both. And I know you had, I think half of it done, or you've been away.
Right away.
We looked at that and down there in the circle. Right. I think it was just, coat.
Yeah, so obviously I was out for a couple of months and Chelsea was covering for me, working with Nathan, our project manager, to get this done. And I think that was the guidance that was given to him, was to get up to past the apartments. Right here, you can see it right where the condos, end, and then you get into the backside of Ravenna. It actually has probably I don't know, 2 years. Yeah. So this is what was put out for solicitation right now. And what Jay's asking for is to go all the way back into the cul-de-sac. This is seal coated right now, and it's degraded. I'm not an advocate for seal coat in any way other than aesthetics. It makes it look black. It doesn't do anything for the actual gradient of the surface there. So
They're just scratching and separating.
Yeah.
It's so sad here.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we have heard it. That actual, like, yeah, they seal coated, Jay and I went out. That's probably the worst section. And, whatever. That's gone, the garbage trucks, we tried, there's areas on the edges, but we did have, when I took over. It was, there was in the back of the site, I got there was an email from, HOA president, they're asking about the road service and this that division stuff too, so they had asked about it. So it'd be nice just to get the price for the whole thing. So, and a way to separate it.
Yeah, if you did the whole thing. What we see here in purple, what's going up? What's the estimate of?
Well, we don't have one back yet. We were thinking of I did a number and I don't remember what I got, $50 an acre, but just something. Come up to like 310,000. That might have changed.
Mhm.
I don't know, but that's where he reports back with C.
What's the name of that road? I can't find it.
It's Ravenna. It's all the way from the stop sign all the way to the cul-de-sac.
Okay. 140,000. 154 for Aviana. So that's right at 300,000 there.
If I may, this report. For one of these places.
Well, it's a year old.
Yeah.
So we don't know where we're at. And with, if we're only gonna allocate 260, it's 300, but we have to come up with more monies to do that. And that would take care of all the roads rated for.
I agree. Your 100,000 to be good last year. You can keep this cost internal. Just assume 100,000
short to the good, the white contract.
That's right.
That's another.
Okay.
It's like,
Right.
you can freely allocate because you always have flexibility within your various accounts to move money. So you can do whatever you want to do this year. You're funded, it's funded well.
I'm sure we'll get the bids back and discuss. The reason I wanted the first part of Pelican was to look at it in the future years, to look, we want to do that as far as, because it gets the most usage of any road. Or waiting to do it all, or doing it through Jackson, it's the other roads. Depending on, those are another facial look at the roads and conditions. You see Mark coming.
I do.
The next one's in the report and we're rated fair. But the only thing distinguishes the 4 roads that are fair is like 1/10 or one. So fair and satisfactory, pretty well lump everything together. And then go, you could do Pelican and you could do. You gotta remember what they rated the roads, Pelican, they rated it from Freelon. Yeah, it's going on.
You end up logging.
Freelon for the 4-way stop. So it looks much worse condition. Yes, I know we. Passed. 26. All right, let me make something else. I'm sorry. Yes.
Long-term planning wise, says the Ravina Road, it's one of the first roads ever been resurfaced before. So it's lasted 20 years plus. So
Yep.
for a budgetary, you can kind of figure in 20 years, you have to go through each road. But okay, thank you.
And what we do, we took the paper checking forward and you looked at, if you divided it over 15 years, we'd have to spend about 300,000 a year. And in 15 years, you'd be at Plano, basically. And it would be about 20 and 15
Right.
years. So about 20 years. Yeah, right.
Never, exactly. That's why I was curious.
That's where we came up with the 300,000 a year to try to. But a lot of them were done all in the same vintage and start look at, it's like, well. Do we start funding some and then not do any for a couple of years and that's not functioning? Yeah. There's a lot of roads that. Down, that are good. But the newest roads, it's gonna be
Yeah,
years.
Cypress Grove, hopefully we won't touch till 2035.
Yeah.
40.
And by options I got for 26,
You will touch that roundabout before then. Those brick pavers aren't going to hold out. I'm already
26, I had 3 or 4 options. One is we could do Pelican Preserve to the 4-way stop at Benito.
Mhm.
Plus that Benito don't ride to the Jensen. Option 2, we could go to some other roads. You could do the fair, you could do some other. Option 3 is wait a year and then repave the entire Pelican Preserve road. Or another one, do nothing, roads adequate for years. That's more for later years. We don't have to do this now. It's just some kind of an idea looking forward to where we're going.
And if you
Thoughts and discussion.
Yeah,
It's usually the down to it's an idea.
the duration thing.
Yeah,
That's on the agenda.
yeah. I've got that on there too, discussion on bike lanes, cost, but the other options other than the thermoplastic paint. Reconsider after the Pelican Preserve Boulevard resurfaced. And we'll throw a number in for later years. Sometime we may have to budget for repairs of certain sections of sidewalks.
They're getting to be that.
That's in mind. Temporary.
I threw a number.
Especially with the L3.
28 for 100,000.
We spend a fortune in getting rid of that.
When you look at where they ground, but there are areas where every panel has been ground, it's like, and the low spots that where the clouds drainage, and it's like, just big redo a whole big section and maybe raise the sidewalk so that it's all set of the drainage issues.
that's really why I brought that back to the committee, right? I have an authorized budget that I'm allowed to work in for O&M, but those are your smaller parts and works that I'm trying to do out here throughout the community. If it's a larger scale, that this committee's only authorized me up to $1,000, for O&M parts and repairs. If it's something larger, substantial, I think we need to take a look at doing an entire program to address said areas, specifically talking towards the sidewalks. So there's a lot of settling and sinking, a lot of buildup of just landscape and grass that have made it where they sit as slip, trip, fall hazards now. So a lot of shifting, and I definitely wanted to bring it up to the committee so that we can start thinking about where we budget and take the money and start putting effort into that now that it's becoming a trend, right?
Next steps are get the, like.
Get the bids, find out how much, Fabiano and Ravina Way is gonna be. Have them break out the cost of Pelican. Because I really don't know if we want to do that this next year. You know, let's see what the costs are gonna be. I'll give that a rough number.
Yep.
But that wasn't including that last part of it. But
Yeah.
so, but that would be the next steps, to get the bids and see if we got the money, so where. Because I'm not sure on the money part of the budget, which.
Now the part you need to keep in mind as well with this
Sure.
is this is simply for mill and resurface. If you get into an area that valley gutters and storm drains are in disarray and need to be repaired, you're talking significant dollar signs. It'll drive cost real heavy on that point.
Oh, I see.
So being aware that if we get into a neighborhood and you do an assessment of the actual valley gutters, the storm drains, that'll be a cost driver. It kind of changes the whole scope of a project real fast.
Yeah, they are.
They are.
Depending on the ones we're talking about.
I think if we get into an area and we see substantial, we'll know as we're going through, we see substantial work, we bring in Tetra Tech or an engineer to come take a look at the actual storm side of the house and make a recommendation of whether we need to fix it while we're fixing the road, or if it's in good enough condition to leave those in place and just do a mill and resurface. Mill and resurface is a very inexpensive, cost-effective way to get the roads back up to a condition for drivability, but yeah, I haven't been seeing any. You get back into certain neighborhoods back by Prado, there's a lot of patch jobs that I've seen throughout that whole back section. That whole loop back there has a lot of patchwork when it comes to valley gutters and storm drain side of the house. So maybe when you,
That's moving WCI.
yeah, and it looks awful. So if you get go into a neighborhood like that and we start taking that and making that a priority for mill and resurface, that'd be a good time to take a look at the valley gutters and the storm drain systems as well, just to get it back onto maybe we can do these in tandem as well with some sidewalk projects. Once we get the bids back, they're out there. We're waiting on quotes to come back. Yeah. And these will all fall underneath the thresholds for competitive. So we're doing this the competitive way. Yeah, I'll have to ask them to extend them. I will. They'll be individual projects.
I think our intent would be to do them at the same time, so that there's one normalization cost, pretty much.
If you get the same contract.
That's true.
So you may get different pricing, better pricing from various contractors. If you're doing it that way, I can mobilize them and do them all at the same time. Keep in mind though, that we're hitting the most heavily trafficked roads because they're the worst roads. So impacts to residents are going to be substantial. I would love to time these with out of season, right? So that we have the least amount of traffic in the neighborhood. Yeah.
This is March.
Just saying.
For reserve.
Planning purposes. Yeah. Planning factors.
Yeah.
Well, what I would hate to do is do 3 roads side by side, and now I don't have places for people to park, create a whole lot of issues, and being able just to get in and out of their homes.
Yeah.
So.
Talk about bike lanes. With the thermal. Hopefully that's longer. It's more expensive. Is it on?
Yeah, it's on the agenda.
Okay.
You want to talk about it now?
Does the committee, all right, recommendation is to move 7D above 7C.
Cost. And Daniel, if you've got an estimated number there, I can, or I here. Look at options other than the thermal test. Maybe painting. Or reconsider after we do helping to preserve bonus. Because we do help and reserve or do the restriping out, you have to redo it.
Yep.
So, and I'm going to talk about, I expect within a couple of years, we have to preserve it. Thanks. And what? I couldn't find the actual relative to what was permitted, what approved city traffic in Canada, but it was the thermoplastic traffic, or restriping all the lanes, or was it just in certain areas where they had to change?
Just for the bicycle lanes.
All of them?
Just, yeah.
So that's why it's so expensive. Because we just painted those last year.
Yeah.
So
This was a legacy item before I came on. I don't know what was the big push to bring this forward and why they had the engineers go out and do these designs. It's definitely not a district push. If that's
there was a lot and to convert those back to a bike line. So they want really the traffic engineering, but or when after bid, it never came back here for discussion of should we just be painting or thermoplastic. It just got thermoplastic and went through because other than some prevention, the earlier version that I saw, there was some concrete work that had to be done. Some of that came out, I know, but there were some places where they had to paint over the crime with black paint over to get the stripes and get them up to an intersection. And then they'll paint the bicycle. So it didn't seem like it was going to be that much. I think the expense is the thermoplastics. I don't know if you can rebid it with.
it is. So here's two-pronged kind of mindset on this. If you're putting in bicycle lanes and you're attracting bicyclists to be in those lanes, saying that this is a lane, you're going to want some reflective in those lanes for who knows who's up early out there riding on them. So that was the mindset, was that the safer side of the house was thermo. Now, if you're wanting just to get lines down and you don't care about reflectiveness in the paint to delineate between roadway and bicycle lane, then you can go that route, and it'll reduce the price to go just straight flat paint. But roadway paint doesn't have the reflectiveness that the thermo does, so it doesn't have the glass built into it.
I mean, I think there's I've heard a lot of resistance spending that kind of money on it.
I think if you even go back down to that, you go back down to a flat paint, that's not a thermo, the price is still going to be more than what you really want to spend on anything that you're about to resurface within the next year or two. So realistically, if you want, my recommendation would be to wait and then do it, because Mhm.
Another question is there a safety issue with those lines or without the bike machines there? I mean, is this going to improve safety by doing this? Or is this just one of those lazy things that they reverse their decision in terms of the golf cart and the whole thing?
I'll tell you, on my drive here, I was side by side. I was behind 3 golf carts side by side all the way down Pelican Preserve Boulevard. So I came in through the back gate, and from the point I turned on Pelican Preserve, there were 3 side by side on a 2-lane stretch. So that bicycle lane was not being adhered to, or no, they were going nice and slow. I'll give them that, but it was 3 side by side.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, it was just right dress.
That is supposed to be a multi-purpose and try to have golf carts and stuff like that. But the golf carts were a lot smaller at that point in time, but over the last 3, 4, 5 years, all the new golf carts are much faster and there's much more traffic as you've been built out than people cycling, so it's just to help segment, the bikes in the bike lane. Hopefully the golf carts in the right-hand lane and cars in the left-hand lane was, that's, as I remember a lot of the discussions in previous meetings.
I'm not sure that anybody adheres to any of the striping out there.
Now you'll get cars going on the sidewalk
Yeah.
to get around the golf cart.
That definitely not doing it till after.
That's the stretch.
Yeah.
Right, but secondly, maybe not do it, because number one, what are the chances of people even conserve it? And all those other things. That was September. In October, we basically said the same thing. Just heard it and said, is this really something that is worth an investment?
Right.
Because people want to be safer, I might keep telling them.
I
That's
agree with Daniel. Nobody here pays attention to any of the striping, period.
exactly.
And,
So why spend money?
and why spend money?
Signs, striping.
And if somebody really is a real good bike rider, they know to stay to the far right. And in that case, even some quote, the real bicycle professionals, I've caught them in the right-hand lane. You got people in the bike lane and in the right-hand lane of the bikes. Nobody pays attention. Don't spend the damn money.
That's.
I've caught one coming the opposite direction. On the right lane, coming this way.
Yeah.
And I've heard that she said, well, I'm sorry, once, this is the safest way for me.
Yeah, it's just that permit you said.
Well, that doesn't mean we have to do it.
You don't have to do it.
You don't have to. You don't have to do anything with it.
Nobody just picks up the permit.
No, yeah.
So it's no priority.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do we need to do a motion or we just sell it?
Just table it.
Just table it? All right. Anybody have a problem with that?
No, we're gonna keep the design. The design's on hand. I will bring back the numbers just for laughs the next go around. Now we had estimates. We hadn't had bidded.
Like 27 signs painted.
Yep.
That's what it was,
When you look at it, you're looking at another driver and cost in this is the fact that you're going to have multiple vendors doing the work. There's going to be subs, and that's what drives the cost up. You've got a sign guy, you've got a striping guy, and you've got an but a little bit. I'll give some of them some credit. But like speed hump project that we're doing right now, that's 3 different vendors. I got one doing the speed hump, I got one doing striping, and I've got one doing signs. Trying to get them all on the same page and moving forward. Difficult.
Well, Rich was on, maybe so we could actually sit down and go through this. And Gail's got a couple designs. They did a photo the metros layout, which looked pretty good, but we have a trade on it. Then they came back with a preliminary engineering design, which is good line up with that and what issues with it. So we're going back and forth. The lights that we thought we would use that are similar to what's out there now, a teardrop, FPL was really, and then we were going to go with a post type on the narrower streets, past the bridge and stuff. FPL is really discouraging the use of that open clear draw in residential areas, because we get a lot of complaints about the lights, seeing the lights from residents. So what they recommend is basically this style. And, but it would be, have a black post, that's what we're looking at. We are, we actually drove up and to look at some of these. Yeah, that's kind of the one on the top. That's a little different. And you got to keep in mind that Fort Valley Light, some of the poles and arms and stuff, they have 2 or 3 suppliers. So depending on the one that's actually done, they may look a little different. And the arms may not quite be the same. That light there, that's horizontal one, is actually down. That's the road that south road down tree line to go to Gateway. And our plantation, they've got all those along there. But this is what they're currently putting in some of their new developments.
The one that's top left is this style, but it just seems nicer. It just seems nicer. So, but is this the one that they're marketing right now? And you're gonna get something a little earlier and more decorative like that one,
The top left,
top left. I mean, if you're gonna do this style, then
we could look at it. There's some.
just to me, it's very.
I go back and look at it. There's some differences in the brightness. That's the different.
Oh, this one?
And this looks like a concrete.
It's, but it would be black, actually. There, one.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, go to.
Tell me when.
That's a 4,000. It's only a 4,000 color temp rather than the 3,000. They were recommend, all the lighting plan has been done with a 3,000. It's, it's a little, and 4,000 lighting.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be, that's a possibility to go with the other, the brand style. That. But there's some areas I'm supposed to be meeting with Eric and having further discussion with him, but there's some areas where I want them to tweak the design, right here, right outside, and they squish the lights together. See down on the right where there's a lot of overlap. And what we want them to do is spread those out a little bit so that one light on the right is right at the intersection.
Yes. Where the tree meets.
Trees. Yeah, and so there's a few areas where they need to make some adjustments, some of it, and that. And then on the narrow roads, we went all the way down there to we will make it down by Plaza. Go to the bridge, okay, south of the bridge here. Where the road narrows. It's not. Looking to use the same style line through there, and then we get to Vietnam. There's some issues where there's too much light going in the Vietnam and that's the residences. So we're talking to them about maybe a shorter hill, which won't have as much spread. So we're looking at some different options.
Same number of all currently have, or is this a change? Same number of light bulbs in the VNI community. From today to this,
Oh, no, today there's only like 5 lights and they're 5 carriage lights and they're set back and there's palm trees all around it, so you're not getting much light out to the road. And so we're still working through the design and we're getting close, but, and then we would use similar style. One for the town center.
it's a,
Benito.
But you probably do shorter poles.
I'm not familiar with the layout. The bedrooms are in front. The problem, the bedrooms are in the back.
The only place probably the one that has 3 little windows across the top. 3 little. No, actually,
I mean, we started talking to the HOA president. He was pretty good with it. They're nice chair. There's no problems with it. So if we,
You'll see some people that love it. I'm doing the conversion plan right now in Gateway. You'll see people that love it, and then there'll be certain neighborhoods that won't. It's too much light, flooding in, and just
I've
intrusiveness.
seen both of these before. You
Focus.
reflect everything down. It was, the LEDs are much more directional than the old style of film ones, but with the hoods, it tend to block the light source from the side, if you're looking at the side, so you don't see, the light as much as. So
I remember when we first did pre-law. That a lot of complaints from the Alabama. They go back to retrofit with fuels. Keep it from going into cross cultivation.
yeah, that's why
That's my concern.
that was exactly why they say they're really discouraging that through drop in a residential area, even though it's a football field, the way people complain about it. So, and we were looking at a post site, I'm like in the town center here and at the entries, like, you get that same spread problem. One thing with this design, I think
And there was people that you could
Yeah.
vote to this.
Yeah, and then.
Okay.
Frontage.
So let's talk about the sidewalk drainage issues. The other ones we'll just push forward to next month.
Okay.
Okay. You gave us a little overview earlier. Do you have anything else you want to say? Because I know you were going to lead this discussion, correct?
Yes. So,
Okay.
Okay.
all right. So, C-Click Fix being a new system that we're putting in requests from the community members, it's starting to really take tread, which is obviously highlighting some trends across the board, sidewalks being one of them. So outside my spending authority, and I really wanted to bring back to the committee to start talking about what we want to do as establishing a sidewalk replacement program. You'll see here several of the areas that have been highlighted in C-Click Fix. Predominance are coming back from the residents in Prado. But like you said, it's not just centric to Prado. That's just right now it's the squeaky wheel that is going to get the grease on this one because that's where the predominance are being reported at. So bringing it to the committee, and I just wanted to have a conversation about what we want to do moving forward with addressing these sidewalk and drainage issues. Clearly, it's a safety issue. They're pooling, and any of those sidewalks that have the pooling of water that sit and don't go anywhere and don't have a place to go turns to slime and makes it real slippery. So a lot of sediment, a lot of stuff sitting on sidewalks that shouldn't be there. So, and it's due to a lot of settling. Just over time, sidewalks have settled. Irrigation has washed away base underneath it and little by little taken out. Anytime you put water over soil, it displaces it. So now you've got sidewalks that are either inhibited due to landscaping, grass. It's grown up pretty heavy. And it's not allowing the water to drain, or the sidewalks have settled to a point where they're either below or at the valley gutter. So instead of draining out into a valley gutter through the grass, it's just sitting back down into a slope on the sidewalk. So wanted to bring it to everybody's attention because clearly it's an issue, and I want to start trying to figure out what we're going to do. But there's a budget line behind it. There's several approaches, and all are different types of projects that have different dollar signs behind them. There's slab jacking where they go underneath and they put foam in it to raise stuff up. Pretty costly. I wouldn't recommend doing that option, but it is an option. There is a rip out and replace methodology. There are flumes. Flumes in the past have been allowed. I don't believe that that's MUCD standards. If you go into and look at city roads, you won't see flumes. You've never seen a city flume on city roads or public roadways because they're not really a means to be allowed. If I have to permit these things, flumes are not going to pass. But right, wrong, or indifferent, there were some flumes added across the community. Yeah, just did it. So just putting that out there. And then what we want to do to start outlining an allowable budget to tackle these areas so that I can start trying to get proposals together. Just to know the means and methods.
Yeah, very. You could, I mean, I video that you can see the
You
water.
don't have to oversell. That's the cheapest cost.
I think they work when the sidewalk is above the valley gutter elevation. If they are down below the valley, it's not going to do anything. It's just going to. There's a couple that are above, and there's a couple that are below the valley gutter elevation. So, realistically, there's more that are flush, just don't have a place to go, and a flume would be a good option, whether or not it would be allowable.
These 4, 2, are there more than this 4? It's just a.
I believe there's more.
There's more. I mean, I can start documenting more, but these are the first.
Well, we're not encouraging.
No.
We want to fix the problem.
There's more. Yeah, I tried to test pilot basically putting in a channel lock to in between grass and sidewalk and valley gutter so that there was a place that the water could escape through, and just didn't work well because it just backs up with every debris. When they weed eat, they push all the debris down into it, so they just back up a clog. So there's not a real great option in there to put that in. Well, that's what I'm asking y'all. spot point repairs.
I'm getting concerned. I'm going off and half the gym up to the year. They're gonna hang in there and do it. You do those and get the best price on a basis.
Okay. I'm seeing people starting to circle out there, so we probably need to line this up. Just to wind up with two things. One of the suggestions we had, I put out to the committee, was that let's get somebody in the committee to take the lead, maybe working with a few other people, maybe Dave would like to help out, and get somebody from the district, but put together a little plan saying, this is how we might want to go about doing it. Whether it's, what options do we have, and then we can do it, and maybe even do something like what, maybe this is too big, I'll leave it at, but something like, a look, whatever it's technical for it, something looks around and say, hey,
I think we've got two issues. You've got spot problems.
yeah.
And then you've got.
Segments, an entire segment.
section.
And when you start getting into messing with valley gutters, anything that goes beyond just a point repair, I would really appreciate bringing in engineering support to be able to say what areas need to be done and to what level and what standards. Yep.
David, would you like to be part of this?
Who will not be able to make the meeting? Who knows now that they will not be able to make the meeting? What's the 20th? Friday, 11 o'clock. Gateway.
I'm here.
Okay.
12:20.
You could start earlier if you want.
Yeah,
Next meeting, start.
I've got it on my schedule, so it's.
Yeah.
If you wanted to start at 9.
Yeah, let's keep it at 11 because we had the opportunity to keep it here. Okay, I need a motion to adjourn the meeting. Second,
Second.
are you in favor of adjourning the meeting?
Yeah.
Anybody opposed? Fantastic. Meeting is adjourned at 12:41. Thank you, everybody. Have a good Thanksgiving. Yeah,
Just do me a favor, grab that.
Yeah.
Where's this going?
Oh, next to here.
Thank you.
There we go.
Dave Hamilton.
Yeah.
Hey, your predecessor, we went out just for the level.
Yeah.
All the slopes were fine 2 years ago on the sidewalk. I don't know.
I've been
if
out
they-
since,
What,
and
what's the permitting issue about? You gotta get permitting before March?
so
Hopefully not.
hopefully not.
Well, I'm wondering because when I talked to a couple companies, mainly landscapers.
Yeah.
They're doing this flume thing in Maple and all over the place.